Hello and welcome back. My name is Brandon Watson. Today in this video we're going to be going over BNGO. Why? Well, because it's time for an update since my last video on February 27th. So let's go and get started. Where is BNGO at now? Well, it's a lot further than the average retail investor would like. In my last video I stated that if price held the 7.5 level that there would need to be around a consolidation which would likely be inside of a 7.5 to $10 channel. As you can see, price couldn't hold that level and ultimately dropped back to this old level resistance before shaking everyone out and getting them right back in and re-excited for a potential reversal. This reversal ended up being short-lived as it got rejected by the purple 25 EMA, while also getting rejected along the 9.3 resistance mark that had formed over a 4-day period. This 9.3 resistance comes from an area back in late January where price topped out at $10 before gapping back down to 7.52. Now, as price falls through 7.52, it tries to hold itself before again getting rejected and looking for the next level of support to attempt to hold itself. Now saying that, rather than trying to take a guess at where this is going to bounce at, let's take a look at 4 key areas on the chart. First, we have this level around 5.6 that price has bounced off of previously. It came from a previous area of resistance that built up in early January before finally pushing through into the $10 range. You'll notice that during this time, a lot of the main volume had built up, which helped the already 1,000% gain that BNGO had boosted up to. The only issue with this area is that as price starts to take off to $10 and eventually to over $15, there's no real volume compared to before. I mean, they were fine slapping 583 million shares to shoot it over $7, but to get it to $8, they only want to throw in 235 million. So will this 5.6 level hold? Maybe. The next level I want to look at is the 200 EMA. The 200 is semi-important as anything considered to be in an uptrend needs to be above it. Anything below the 200 EMA is technically speaking in a downtrend. Now saying that, you would figure that if you want price to be in an overall uptrend, that you would want BNGO to hold this level. This could be a decent level to bounce and consolidate from, as the 200 EMA corresponds with this area of resistance before price hopped over and starts to push the 5.6 resistance. What's wrong with this level though? Well, as I said, price gapped over the $5 up to $6, and it did so with barely any more volume than the day before. Now remember, price that gaps up with little volume is doomed to fall back. Think of it like this. If you feel a rocket destined for the moon with only a quarter of a tank, do you think it's even going to make it out of orbit? Probably not. So moving on to our third key level to look at, we have this bounce that occurred on January 8th with lows of 3.91. And by now you're probably already asking me, but what's wrong with this level? Well, you asked right, because again, this bounce might have had more volume than the day before, but sitting at 137 million versus the several days where volume was over 400 million, even topping out at 800 million, well, 137 million shares isn't much. Which brings us to our last key level to look at, this gap that formed from December 31st to January 4th. And you know what they say, gaps tend to eventually close, and this gap hasn't closed yet. So saying that, will this gap close? Well, I'm no one to predict the future. I'm only here to lay out the potential possibilities for you to form your own opinion off of. No one can really predict the market. But if I were to take a guess, I would say this is the one area that actually has a chance of supporting the price because it's the only area that has built up enough volume before price started to extend out of control. Can price drop this low? Maybe. And if it does, can price drop even lower? Again, maybe. No one actually knows. Maybe one day someone will step in and save the day with a large buy order, but until then, BNGO has a long way to go. As for myself, I already pulled out of all of my positions including NNDM and PLTR due to not taking any profits before a photo gig. Buy the rumor, sell the news is apparently something I failed to take seriously as well. Only reason why today wasn't horrific for me was for the fact that I took a $700 overnight gain from APAM. I was going to make a video about it before the trend, but nobody cares about easy growth stocks. They only want the hype. So if you have any feedback, I'd love to hear it. I hope you all take care and have a great night.